I think the net effect, and it's going to be a very interesting question, the impact of all of these retiring baby boom folks like myself who are going to have, when we look at this industry over the next 10 years, what's that going to look like? I think it's going to be a really interesting question. Two things that occur to me about that. One is that on the mid-size and lower end of the market, there will be a plethora of companies who do not plan adequately for their continuity. And those companies will cease to exist. Who's going to own these companies? Who's going to run them? How many millennials will be signing up to start a construction company and turn that company into the next mid-size or the next giant firm? I mean, those are all open questions. If I were to speculate, which when you're talking about the future, you always speculate, I think you're going to see in the next 10 years a whole lot of smaller, mid-sized companies that literally will go away. They just will not be around. And I don't think they're going to be replaced at the same number by millennial founding new contractor creations. There will certainly be replacements. But if you think through that, one thing I would potentially conjecture is that we've got this big end of the market exacerbated by all the forces I mentioned earlier, the internationalists, the mergers and acquisitions activity, and all the things that continue on the mid-size, mid-market and up. So if that all becomes increasingly large and increasingly stratified, and the number of small, facile, locally wired companies decreases, what I think you're going to see goes back to a better structure. 35 years ago or 40 years ago, Michael Porter, who's one of our great strategy gurus of the United States, came out with a concept of 5 forces that define a great industry structure or a not great industry structure. And that was bargaining power uphill, bargaining power downhill, how fiercely competitive was something, and whether there were barriers to entry, and how easily something could be substituted. Well, if you think about our industry in the past, it doesn't measure up very well to any of those 5 things, many forms of it, contracting being a prime example. But I think if you think about the structure of the industry becoming more, large scale, that imposes barriers to entry, makes it tough, increases bargaining power, it moves the needle, as my young people like to say, on all of those forces potentially. That improves the overall industry, and that's not a bad thing.